everybody, and welcome to Blue Jays Today, where we always have something to say about the Toronto Blue Jays. I am your host, Adam Peddle.
And I'm your host, Nicholas Playlog. And today, guys, we're going to be looking at the second base spot. Trade, sign, keep what we already have. What the hell are the Blue Jays going to do with the second base bag? Before we get into it, though, today, Jays is a code for Monkey Knife Fight. Hop onto it, folks. Hit the like, the subscribe. You know the whole drill. Okay, dude, we got a whopping 45 home runs from the second base position last year. That is gone. First off, odds, do you think, is that going to happen again?
Out of the second base spot?
Yeah.
No.
Okay.
Being like one of the first times ever in MLB.
I think it wasn't, didn't he break records?
He broke a record for
I think
second
he broke
base
the
home
record.
runs.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, second basemen don't usually hit for a lot of pop, do they?
Small dudes.
Small dudes. Small, quick dudes. And yeah, so that's gone, guys. The odds are very, very slim that we are going to get 45 home runs coming from that spot again. We had a luxury going on. We were feeling blessed. Sadly, we didn't make playoffs with it, though, so that really sucks. Who do we have there right now? What are we going to do? Like, how is this all going to happen, man?
Great question. Well, right now, as most of you know, we just have Cavan, Biggio. And Cavan, Biggio in 2021 had a rough time playing third base. They had to move him over because Marcus Semien was there. Offensively, had a rough time. Defensively, had a rough time.
Even rougher of a time.
Even of a rougher time. I think that's what I kind of want to focus on with Cavan Biggio is that defense, because when he played third base, my God, was he bad.
He was very bad.
Very bad. 52 games this guy played out there, committed 9 errors. That is a fielding percentage of .935%.
That's horrible.
That's really horrible. However, Cavan Biggio at second base hasn't been that bad. If you're just looking at fielding percentage, his career in 129 games, it's a .986. Marcus Semien, who won the Gold Glove last year, fielding percentage of .982. However, I will play devil's advocate. Marcus Semien's outs above average is like 90th, whereas Cavan in 2019 is like 31st. So
okay,
but anyways, it's very similar in comparison.
Yeah, and I mean, let's face it, guys. Second base is a lot easier of a position than third base.
Exactly.
It's just the way of it, you know. And it's like third base. If you miss one of those balls and let it go down the line, like. That could be a triple for all we know. That could be 2, you know. So it's like it is very damaging when you have somebody over there who cannot field properly, and also once they get the ball is sailing it over Vlad's head at first base, right? And so literally Biggio over at third base. That's just a disaster waiting to happen.
So it makes more sense to bring him over back to second base.
Yeah, totally. And I mean, as of right now, I think that he is locked in at that second base spot. He will be the starting second baseman unless we acquire someone through trade or free agency and, you know, before the season starts. However, there are also some concerns with Biggio. Offensively is one of them, you know. Is he capable of being a good MLB player over the course of a full season? I don't know if we've fully seen that yet. And also, too, and I'm not majorly concerned about this, but there is the injury concern, considering he just come off of a injury-riddled season. If he gets hurt this season, does something similar, plays half the year, what are we going to do about that?
Well, I think our next best option is to go to someone in the minor leagues. If we haven't acquired anybody else through free agency or trade, I think our next best option is the minor leagues, because I want to look at someone like Jordan Groshans or Elvis Martinez. Maybe not necessarily for second base, but they can also play a bit of third base. And we all know Santiago Espinal is an excellent third baseman and an excellent second baseman. So maybe you slot him over at second, maybe give Groshans or Elvis Martinez a chance at third, or I don't care, maybe they can play second. Whatever happens, that's a great opportunity to try those guys out if there's an injury.
I think I would prefer starting them over at the second base bag just because I know how elite Espinal is at third.
Yeah.
And if he's continuing that again, I'd be like, you know what, like, I don't want to risk putting a rookie in this spot and having him screw up. You know, just keep Espinal there, like, go play second base. It's a bit easier. If you're really good at that, we'll move you over to third. But I do think that Jordan Groshans or Elvis Martinez, or honestly both of them, like, at some point, unless they get shipped off, unless they get traded, they have to see Major League at-bats this year. That's just where they are at in their development as human beings, as players. So it's like, if it's not on our team, it has to be on someone else's team. And that kind of segues into the next thing where it's like, okay, like, we have Biggio, and there are definitely some question marks offensively and defensively too, but I think it's okay. But would it be better to maybe ship off Jordan Groshans, maybe ship off Elvis Martinez, go get a sure stud in a Ketel Marte? Because that is like the trade target that I think a lot of us have been talking about for a minute at the second base bag.
Well, that's all about how you want to play it, right? Like we've talked about Ketel Marte on this channel a bunch. You know, if you want to ship one of those guys and get Ketel Marte, cool. That's the route we're going to go. Okay, we're going to bank on those guys. And then where would Cavan Biggio go in your mind? Right?
Yeah,
That's the
thing. I feel like, and again, I don't want to go too deep down the trade rabbit hole here, but it's like, if we were to acquire Ketel Marte, I think it might have to include Cavan Biggio in the deal, and because it's just like, it doesn't really make sense unless you full up agree that Cavan Biggio now is the platoon guy, like he is going to play everything around the diamond, which I don't think he's proven he's capable of doing based on his position at third base last year. But let's just say that that's the case, then that's what you do. But I think if you're acquiring Ketel Marte, Cavan Biggio is going to be a big part of that deal, along with maybe Jordan Groshans, along with maybe Elvis Martinez and something else.
And then whoever stays, you got to be sure that whoever stays can play third base, because you do have Santiago Espinal there at third base. You do.
But
however,
he's not a sure thing,
and he might not be long-term Blue Jays solution, right? So you also got to be careful. It's like if you are shipping Cavan, it's like, okay, we're keeping now Jordan Groshans or Elvis Martinez. They're going to be the future third baseman.
Right. Or at least one of them.
At least one of them, right?
Least one of them has to stay.
Who knows? So there's a lot of different options there, but let me ask you, which one do you think is most likely going to happen for Toronto Blue Jays? Free agency, trade, or internal?
We didn't even talk about the free agency. There are, and I'll get into that in a second. I think most likely we're probably going to stick with the Biggio, with the with the potential Jordan Groshans or Elvis Martinez. We just have so much of a logjam right there in the minor league with these infielders, and I do think that the management wants to see them. I could see the reality where we do go out and get Ketel Marte. We have been calling about it. I think that this management has understood that it is now time to go all in. I think that the least likely scenario is to go about it in free agency. However, there are some targets. I think we're going to later do a video on Donovan Solano as potential target. Very underrated guy that nobody's looking at. I don't think that this is going to happen, but maybe in like the wildest, like 2% of the time, they go out, they acquire a Trevor Story, you're the second baseman now. It's like, I don't think that that's going to happen, but I also didn't think that Marcus Semien was going to come over and then not play shortstop and be second baseman either. So I don't want to rule anything out.
Exactly. That's again, it all depends how the management wants to go about it, because again, if you're bringing in someone like Trevor Story, you're kind of locking down that position for like 5-6+ years,
he
right?
Is now the like you are second baseman now. You're the guy,
right? And then it's like you still have Bobichette there, and then it's like Elvis Martinez and Jordan Groshans. You might get shipped off. However, with Marcus Semien, it's like 1 year made sense, right? Donovan Solano a little bit underrated. It might make sense because it might be a shorter deal to kind of bridge those boys coming up. But again, all depends how they want to go about it. But let me ask you, Nick, which one is your favorite option? Which one's the most exciting for you?
I think that the most exciting for sure has got to be Ketel Marte, assuming that the trade offer, and it all comes down to what it is that we are giving up right now. If we are giving up the absolute bag, then I might not like it. I do want to maintain keeping at least Elvis Martinez or Jordan Groshans. I'd be fine with giving one of them up, Cavan Biggio, maybe one of our catchers, and like a little bit of money or something like that, and like acquiring an all-star in Ketel Marte who literally had a 909 OPS last year. Like, that is exciting as hell. I'm also coming to terms with the fact, though, that I would be okay just watching Biggio start off the season there and just kind of crossing our fingers and going like, hey, man, like, we saw what you could do in the shortened season, because he had a good shortened season, man.
Yeah, he had a decent 2019
We saw what you could do there. So it's like, can you just do that again and, be a rock on defense as you have been at the second base bag? Like, I'm okay with that, if assuming that Biggio is not, a total idiot who can't hit the fastball anymore.
Yeah, I hear you. For me, it's like my favorite option when I'm thinking about it more. I'm like, wow, like it'd be kind of cool to test out Martinez and Groshans in that position. Let's say if Biggio goes down with injuries, I'm on board with you. I think that's going to be the most likely scenario. Biggio's going to be there. But if it does happen, it's like, okay, well, let's see what we got. Let's see what we got out of these boys.
Yeah, I agree, man. And seeing the rookies is so freaking fun,
cool.
dude. Yeah,
so cool.
Guys, let us know in the comments down below what you thought about this thing. Please hit the like and subscribe button if you haven't already. And $3 a month to become a Patreon member. Shout out and thank you to every single one of our current Patreon members. You guys are awesome. Keep this thing going.
Guys, thank you so much for watching.
Go Jays, go!